but they're on market for market fix-it. I've been playing around with ChatGPT and the GPT-3 from OpenAI when it came out about, well, not when it came out, but I've been playing around for about a year and a half now. I've written a few bots with it. The bot I'm going to show you is a Zodiac bot. It produces 12 YouTube videos a day, which I upload to a YouTube channel. So the way it works is it uses the FlatLib library to get the positions of the planets in the constellations. Okay, so it's using MoviePy, which is in this file here, trim background and create video for MoviePy in there. You'll also use the MP3 library to get the length of the MP3 that is produced from the AWS Poly, and using the news API to get the news for the bot. So what this bot is being told to pretend that it's a YouTuber. It gets the positions of the planets, it gets the news headlines, and then it stitches together a reading for a zodiac sign. So I give it which zodiac sign it's working with. I'll tell it that it has so many subscribers and to thank the audience, and basically just like a YouTuber. Creates a script, and the script gets passed on to AWS Poly, which produces the text to speech, and that goes back to MP3. Grab the MP3 length, so I get the length of the movie file, pass that to MoviePy. MoviePy subtracts that from a free background video that I've got, and basically stitches together a video. Also slap in as like and subscribe outro on the end. Right, so let's just go through this. So we'll start off the bot, and at the moment I've got producing the videos straight away, but this is basically a time delay function so that I can set it at night and it will produce the video sometime during the morning, so that when I wake up in the morning I can upload them to YouTube. We have a delete contents function, which basically will delete yesterday's readings so it can start fresh, and I'll just have a results folder which has the results from MoviePy. Here's the OpenAI key. These two ones call the delete function to clear that folder. I pass it today's date so it knows the date that we're working on. I output the results from ChatGPT to, well, when I say ChatGPT, it's actually DaVinci 3. I use DaVinci 3 because it works better in this instance. It costs a little bit more than ChatGPT, but ChatGPT would sometimes return results along the lines of, as a large language model, I can't do X, Y, Z. So we just use DaVinci. Yeah, so I put the results in this text file, which I can read and just check it for factuality and make sure that it isn't gone off the rails completely. This OS clear script here basically just clears the screen. It doesn't really work as I expected it to, so whenever I switch it from Windows to Linux, I just have to swap these around. Here's the number of subs, which I have to put in manually at the moment. I do plan to tap into the YouTube API so I can grab the subs and without having to enter it every day. Let's see, what else is it doing? Date string. Yeah, so it takes today's date and then just formats as a year, month, day string so that I can pass that to the GPT engine. Flat new string is, I had to take the string that comes from the FlatLib library and I had to reformat it because it didn't like. Well, why did I do that? Just going through this again. This may have been for files, yes. So when I save the files, they are saved with the date in it, and obviously I can't save it with a /. So it replaces it with a dash instead. Okay, and flat date is also taking the FlatLib's date and converting it. So string position is geographic position. So I just chose a random position on the planet because FlatLib requires you to be actually standing somewhere on the planet to do the readings of the stars. And so I just chose somewhere at random. Chart. Okay, this is, yes, so this is actually the chart that comes back from Flat, which takes the date takes the position, and I think this is what actually returns the constellations. It's been a while since I read through that. All right, so we look at what we're interested in. Moon is being blocked out. Didn't really want the moon in this, but I did take the sun. So we got Mercury, Venus, Sun, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. Those are all the inner planets. They do the outer planets sometimes for zodiac signs, but most of the time it's just the inner planets people are interested in. Right, we just print it out to the console. We make up a list of all the planets. So this basically returns a list of their positions, what star signs the planets are currently situated in. It also gives me the azimuth and other nonsense, which I'm not really interested in. I tried to pass that unprocessed to ChatGPT, but it would sometimes go off on a whimsical way and decide to list all the facts and figures for all the planets, but it doesn't really fit in with what we're trying to talk about here. So we strip out all that information and we return basically just the planets in the zodiac signs and give that to Da Vinci to make up a story about the zodiacs. Right, so here are the list of zodiacs that we're working with. So create the list and then we're going to iterate through that list. Alright, so this is the first function. Basically what we do is it's got the horoscope function. This is the first one I created. We pass it these art numbers here, so art 0 to 9, so 10 of them. These are articles from the news. I grabbed the news sources from CNN using News API. And then I just grab the star sign that we're working with, today's date, and the zodiac planets, which are the positions of the planets and the zodiacs. Right, give that all to ChatGPT to play with. I limit the number of tries that we can do so that I don't overload the server. Right, so there we go. Da Vinci, text Da Vinci 003, and this is what we pass to OpenAI. Today's date, we give today's date string, planet positions, we pass all the planet positions. The news headlines, 0 to 9, and then I tell it, I give it a task. So there we go. Task, find meaning in the news for specific star sign and write a horoscope using planet positions for star sign. Right. That was the basic one that I came up with first. This one produces a video which is roughly 40 seconds long, which is great for shorts. So this became the shorts version. This temperature is 0.7. That basically tells it how much it can deviate off the truth. So if you give it a temperature of 1, it will be very factual. Unfortunately, it makes it not so creative, so it doesn't sound very interesting to listen to. So giving it a offset of 0.7, that makes it a little bit more interesting to listen to and still remain relevant most of the time. I do listen to these to make sure that they are truthful and doesn't go off the rails. Then I just print it out to the console so I can see what it's producing. It returns the response. So I'll also just break out if it's exceeding the retry attempt. So if it tries talking to the server keeps failing because they're doing maintenance on the server or the internet's down or whatever reason, then it'll just bob out and dump me in the console with the error message so I can see what went wrong. Right, so this is the next iteration that I tried. Horoscopes YT. So it passes the same type of information on. However, this time it tells Da Vinci today's date. You are a GPT Zodiac reader. Your YouTube channel is GPT Zodiac Readings. You pass the planet positions, pass the news headlines. Then I give it its task. Start on the emotional personal note. Introduce and narrate a horoscope for specific star sign using parts of the news for reference. Also make sure to ask the audience a question related to the news, then ask them to subscribe and like for the video. Alright, and that produces a video of roughly about 2 minutes in length. Same type of settings, again, pass it out to the console, break if there's a problem with the server. Right, and then there's a third version. Right, so horoscope YouTube 2, again, pass the same type of information to it. However, this time we changed the prompt again. So today's date. You are GPT Zodiac Reader. Your YouTube channel is GPT Zodiac Readings. You have number of subs. So this time the bot is aware of how many subscribers are available. So it sometimes incorporates that into the reading and will thank the people for subscribing. Right, we give it the planned positions and we give it the news headlines. Right, the task. Start on an emotional personal note and thank everyone for subscribing to your channel. Introduce and narrate a horoscope for star sign using parts of the news for reference. Also make sure to ask the audience a question related to the news. Then ask them to subscribe and like the video. Ask viewers to check out the description for more info and say goodbye in Spanish. This should be changed because I've now removed the Spanish speaking text-to-speech as was too difficult to understand. It made it sound more authentic, but it was really difficult to understand, and most of the time I used to just follow along with the subtitles. The demographic has shifted on the YouTube channel. It's been running for quite a few months now, and it was a lot of Latin Americans originally, so I thought it was quite fun to have it in this broken English Spanish dialect, but lately it's shifted to the United States, so I am bringing back an English speaker. So I'm usually a British English speaker. It was just one of the AWS text-to-speeches that sound relatively good. So I'm using AWS Poly. That has a natural language engine, which I'm using. So it makes it very easy to listen to bots. Carrying on, we printed out a console again, so I can just follow along with it. Producing the videos. Right, here's the news API, so that just grabs the news from the news API system. So as I said earlier, it's grabbing it from CNN, gets 10 articles. There is a, they've removed the 10th article for some reason. So just as a quick go around, I've just doubling up the last one. It was just an easy, quick fix. Right. So for Zodiac and Zodiac, all right, so this is when it produces the videos. So it goes through it, grabs which Zodiac we're working with, passes it to the YouTube reader, which either chooses, it gives me 2 chances to make a YouTube short, and it gives me 2 chances to make a YouTube or full-length YouTube video, which is about 2 minutes. So I've given it 2 chances for that and 2 chances for that, so it's 25% chance for each one of those. So in essence, it's 50-50 on whether it's going to be a short or a long form video. So if you're using the original, it must go to that one, otherwise go to YouTube or YouTube 2. Right, print it out to the console. Right, and then the AWS Poly, we get the MP3 from AWS Poly, and then we just call a sleep function because I didn't want to hit it too hard, so that just gives it a little bit of delay. Right, and then we use MP3 library. MP3 library I'm using just to get the length of the MP3. So when the MP3 comes back from AWS, I check the length of it. Once I've got the length of the video, I can then use that to trim the large file. So I've got like a 5-minute background video, and I will grab at random a section of that video, which is the length of the MP3 file. I think I may add a bit of padding to it as well to just extend it like a second before or after, so it doesn't just go straight into the video. Alright, so yeah, so I do a bit of padding as well just to make sure it doesn't spill out of the edges of the video. Also, there's this if length is greater than 54. So that determines whether it's going to be a YouTube short or YouTube normal video. So obviously if it's longer than a minute, it can't be a short. So it becomes a YouTube long form video. The reason why it's not 60 is because I have to put in the padding for the subscribe at the end and the padding between the beginning so it doesn't get cut off in the middle of speech. If it goes over, if it's smaller than 54, we just do a standard video, or standard video being a short. And then if it's longer than 54, then it does this horizontal background, which is to make it a normal framed video. Right, then we save the file, and we give it the Zodiac name and the date string. Create the video, so this makes the final video. But this is the main function for the AI part of this bot. and it's been running for quite a few months now. Let's see if we can just bring that up. Right, so here's the video channel. It gets a few videos every day. It basically does things. I did stop for a while. I've just started bringing this up again, and seems to be picking up where it left off. Let's just have a look at one of them. So I'll just do a long form.
Greetings, Capricorns. Today, we have a lot of news that is directly related to your sign. Let's start with the news of Russian strikes on Odessa overnight. This news has a direct connection to our sign since Capricorns are known for their strength and resilience in the face of adversity.
Basically what it is, the long form video. So in this case 3 minutes in length. It does a horizontal format. Upload that. That's all done manually. Otherwise it does a short version like this one. It then uploads as a short.
Pisces, with Saturn in your sign, it's time to focus
Again,
on
I have
yourself
put the
and your
subtitling in, but it
relationships.
was beforehand. It was doing like if I go look at a older one. I think this is old enough. This will be a. This has very Spanish sounding.
and Jupiter in Taurus this week. You may be feeling the urge to take a break from the hustle and
But as I
bustle
said,
of your
it's just
daily
difficult
life
to
and
understand
focus on
what it's
yourself.
saying, so most of the time I was just reading it in the captions, which wasn't great. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that, and that's basically just this little bot, and I thought I'd show it off and see what you guys think. Cheers!